Thank you all for coming. This is our third uh, annual, hoping it continues onward, Hanukkah reading for Not at AWP or NAWP for short, which is just become this more of a monthly reading for people that are technically not at AWP. And since that only happens at one time of the year, we are technically not at AWP now, so it counts. Really happy to have everybody here. This is a wonderful reading, especially given all the things going on in the news and what have you. It felt to me, thinking this morning, it feels uh, radical and necessary to come together like this and to create art and share our art and community and joy wherever we can find it. So I really thank you all for coming and being a part of that. I'm going to start out with a short poem, if I can find it, and then we'll introduce our first reader. Okay, so this poem is a series of poems in my manuscript. I seem to like to have personas of lurking creatures, and the golem seems like a perfect one for a Jewish manuscript. So this is titled "The Golem in the Archive Collects Fragments of Light." Before the moon reveals its battered face, or the denuded trees spread their limbs, there were bodies claimed by snow. I try to hold them like a stream parting around a stone, a boy who ran across a cobbled street to find his mother, refracted by the lens, a father's face broken as a window, a discarded suitcase, pogrom of names, surviving American accents, the notary's stamp, Yiddish typed out as the home language in the crease of the census record, a lover's note, her candle smoke letters on the back of a photo, a prayer book splayed by clumsy fingers at the bottom of an artillery box, an unexpected photo of you, like a bullet hole, sky peeking through a back wall, glass shattered into fragments of light. Our first reader is Rosebud Benoni. Thank you, Rosebud.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to read two poems. The first one is a Sopranos poem. I'm not the biggest fan of the show, but I am a big fan of Adriana Lacerva. This is from a new manuscript that will be the last book in a trilogy I call the Discovery Trilogy, called Space Horse. And this is for the actress who plays Adriana. Adriana Lacerva in Space Horse. Wish it swung different, a lolly sucked behind your ear, mantilla and rope like an undersign, dark moon of your cry. All those barrel bears slit of highest pitch, I'd ghost their rails. Haunt in La Tigre catsuit and scar feathers aid. So many zebra boas to con and pontificate had I been there. The horses we'd craze. Felons we'd fell for good. All that made guys too unwise and decaptain off their bumpin'. Bump a lump, nah. Tell 'em, go gabagool yourself. Had I, would I, low cut those gilded peep sad Paulies. Christopher, Christ aid, I would have smelled Danielle a mile away and Ser Seravino that smug, dead-eyed gopher. No grit, no grace, not her high stakes. Too much resting and too little face. Too much race like Pio Mai told to pay. The fire, the funk like aid. Why didn't you then get yourself that getaway? Could have been fresh, hot pink and daggered litanies and late night diners, all you can nitrates and lace, and I know damn well I do. Had I, if we, they'd want me too, just as much on a stage, blanked, caged, to gyrate. Could have double billed her and her, yeah, sure. Could have been you and me in a little PVC. Two Queen's girls acting, acing arches off the brow. All that love they say I sing gone. Leather at our last dip song. Lights out, sweat, lick, frown. In that dark, in that deep poison side part down, my kind of woman has lived the same. The Aeone I've lived on the run on the Lamb side of town, the Marianas in the morass. Takes too much to get even, just a little back. Tired of clipped, of exposed track. I can't wait for the forest anymore to retract the Hot Wheels to dump out what's left. I got you now. Glimessing, goddesty, you and me, perfecta. Permafrosting the too late. Oh, Pinafore Shield. Oh, Candido Bade. Oh, the rotting drakes will switch and blade. To hell with blues in this town. To hell with lawn bones. To being a gash of charade. You and me, Adriana. Adriana, with my cottage and your cross, with our bloody golden gloss. The elegies of brighter timbre years, our coils, my Adriana, our power, our ballads, our wild, wicked tears. I was kind of channeling Drea there. I'll read one more. This one is from the actual book that is coming out in 2027, The Last Great Adventure is You. I just sold it this year, and it's the second book in the Discovery trilogy. And this is for the Coen brothers. And I read this poem once before at a reading, and it didn't go over well. I'll leave that to your imagination as to why. But yeah, I'm a fan of Jewish directors and writers and the auteurs that are the Coen brothers. This is called On the Nature of My Wrestling. With blood like ours, it's hard to vessel. Your particular tongue twister of Hashem, I'd mystery in all the trials that ejected me. Migratory, montage, messy. My rebuttal to horse sense execs who'd never bet that I'd unleash my sixth sense Hester Street, my vibrato mutant eagles making their pass. It's too late to nuke my cameo, perfect camo, a street lamp shedding super heavies. I riot in nucleotide, peel and shout, hair metal raptor, where art thou? And of all the new nicks, I score off with Steve Buscemi. Faves always outlive the fallout. Expect him to emerge eventually, like seizures or burns. Just follow the mustache, the stranger bowling among randu vultures and dudes. So don't mind if I do, holding on to the bloody neon west of a simpler tenor. And all the dust leading to a little haunted room in Chula Vista where my family fled one border town for another. There, part of me still shepherds, and the wallpaper, the same death I'm thinking for the pictures, how to title, poet wrestling with Etan and Yoel in scratches, it bucks with, I do amend a lot of gelded nonsense, a slaughter horse, I ride to death. So many lost legs in the aftershock rounded hallways opening petal by petal into heat rock. Oh, this hour, my wingspan or my prey. Radiant, cold, and grave, one uncut lawn shot, and I'm still nicely hidden away. I obscure the wolves of what is coming. Snowy blitz to keep all from tying a sling. Who barks for hell for this mountain to pass? And who will burn after reading that? And anyway, it's too late to run, the wrath twisting seconds away. Wrath I did and did not remake. And this, dear brothers, is exactly how it sounds. What cannot stop the heed of its hound? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosebud. Our next reader is Mordecai Martin.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I'm on my cell phone because I'm at a Hanukkah party, actually. of all ironies. And I double booked myself. I apologize for that. So I won't be able to stay long after I read this, but I love you all very much. I'm very happy to be here. Um, this is a fairly bellicose poem, which I thought was appropriate because of Hanukkah's debatable warlike nature, right? It's a celebration of a military victory, supposedly. Although that's a hot button issue about who's in whose history of the Jewish people Hanukkah takes that connotation in. This is not my poem. This is a poem I translated, so it is my poem and not my poem. Um, I translated it from the Yiddish of Sholem Schwarzbard, who, if you're not familiar, was an anarchist and a communist and a poet, and also an assassin. He murdered in cold blood about 10 years after writing this poem. He murdered in cold blood Simon Pitliora, who was the Ukrainian head of government in exile uh, after the Russian Revolution. Right, Ukraine had this socialist government or like liberal democratic government that the Bolsheviks threw out, and Simon Petliura was its president. And he killed him because he felt the Ukrainian nationalists that Petliura had headed during the revolution were responsible for the pogroms that killed Schwarzbard's almost entire family, about 15 members of his family. Um, so Schwarzbard took his revenge on Petliura, and the French in Paris, where this poem was published, and the French completely what's the word? Um, they let him walk free. He didn't plead not guilty. He said, I killed him and I meant to kill him because he is a pogromnik. And the French said, that makes sense to us. And and he walked. Um, and so he walked in 1927.
I'm in a Zoom meeting, but I'm not able to hear any volume. What could be the reason?
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I not coming through?
You're coming through.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I heard somebody speaking there for a second. Um, and they said something like, I can't hear you, but I'm sorry to that person. Anyway, so yes, Shalom Schwarzbard, the author of this poem, murdered the head of the Ukrainian government in exile and walked for it. Then he wrote two more books of prose autobiography. And then he died in South Africa, but he was reinterred in the state of Israel, where he lies today. Um, this is the prologue to his poetry collection, Dreams and Reality. So this is prologue to Dreams and Reality. A shield for you, forged of steel and iron strong, a twice sharpened sword in hand, a steadfast grasp, girded hips, every hand armed. Come out with me to the battlefield, to the world stadium. Show your strength. I call, follow my bid. From thousands of heroes, one stands. This is you, the hero. The victory sweetens the victor. As honey are the spoils, as nectar the plunder, further in you, your heart grows so well cold when your sacrifice approaches you with poisoned feet. Your strong arm pierces the breast of your conquered victim who falls under you. You raise your hand, your sword full bloody, with conqueror's head whole high. Then they will adore, hail, praise your skill, and every eye will be raised to see you. And with deep respect, inspired by your glance and victory, they will bow their heads before you. They praise, they hold you holy in their hearts. exultation on their lips. They gift you words of praise. The prettiest daughters of your people will braid you laurel wreaths. Your gaze, your strong, manly art, your lovely form will warm them. They'll grow faint, these magical, beautiful goddesses. Happy will be that breast where your gaze will fall, wherein deep lies the heart which will resound to your every word. Happy and joyous and cheerful, they will weave unadorned around you. This could be so beautiful. It is prepared for you, the king's table, the white silver table, full splendid and shining. The lovely glance also is destined for you. Your word is holy, precious as the word of God. Slave and lord, king and serf will inscribe it for you yourself, unadorned. Your wish will always come true. The kings will grant your desire, the most beautiful of women, naked and knowable in the bright of day. For the eyes of the whole world, only this glows. Just your gaze is all they want in the world. Man, you stand now at the edge of life. For you, everything is free, everything is in your grasp. There on a mountain, shrouded in pure silver clouds, stands a beautiful and wondrous magic palace. Beside the world created, it stands there alone, pure and immaculate as crystal. Its foundation is built of marble stone. A bed of wish gold and strings of pearls is made, immaculate, lovely, shining with all sorts of gems. There stands a marriage canopy embroidered in the best artisan hand. The surrounding terraces bloom with everything. Amber fountains flow always there without end, an upswelling of water, silver white, winds quietly through the garden bed, between fragrant trees with marvelous huge fruits, strolling among the high, dense grasses, a young woman, an enchanted image, a lost princess, dreamy, yearningly, she calls out your name. Birds trilling drench her in song. Accompanying this innocence call, the moment felt in the heart, man, where are you, great hero, conqueror of your God? Thank you.
Thank you, Mordecai. Our next reader is Robin Rosen Chang.
Hi, Jared, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here. I'm going to read two poems. And can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I'm reading two poems. The first one is a little bit about a struggle with the idea of prayer. It's called Friday Morning in the Lobby of the Downtown Royal Sonesta. Friday morning in the lobby of the Downtown Royal Sonesta. Standing and praying, a man in a black yarmulke. His body rocks, swaying back and forth, his lips moving, murmuring. My lips sealed as I watch from a nearby cafe table, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee. Its heat, a small consolation. How does he pray with such conviction? Faith I want to claim, but don't know how. Last month, when my student broke down because her demented father carries a knife and he thinks she's conspiring against him, I advised her where to get help and whispered, "They're in my prayers." To a friend whose tumors scythe his too lean body, what to say except I'm keeping him in my prayers. Honestly, they're in my thoughts. All day and night, I worry so hard my brain feels like it's cracking. In bed, I lie awake, curled on my side and hugging my knees. Caring and hoping, are they the same as bowing and praying? I gaze at the man davening. What if I did that? I lift the cup to my lips. The coffee is lukewarm. My next poem is called Bone China. The ocean's waves surge, curl, break, one on top of the next. Porcelain white foam in the air, as if blown by a giant fan. My mind drifts. My grandmother, her bone china plates, the one I dropped and shattered last Saturday. China she'd save for Rosh Hashanah dinner, brisket and potato cakes from the old country, or for when we'd gather at her apartment after a relative's funeral. Everyone solemn, quiet, until my mother commented on who hadn't shown up, or one of my brothers cracked a dirty joke. As we all sat around her dining room table covered with the white tablecloth, embroidered with tiny blue flowers, I sulked away for holidays with my family. My siblings and me, the top of the crest now, followed by two more still growing generations. Reassuring, like the gulls bobbing on the water's waves, on the small swells soft as breasts, without the lump my grandmother never felt, or was too tired by then to worry about, the pain seeping deeper and deeper from bosom to bone. White spume floating. My grandmother standing in the surf in her one-piece striped swimsuit and her wide-brimmed hat. She loved the ocean, its breakers and rollers. She'd nod as I swam over and under her waves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin. Our next reader is David Ebenbach.
Wow, have to follow that? Not cool. Thank you so much, Jared, for pulling this together. I think we all really need this. So I've been writing a lot of poems about AI because AI sucks. And so I've been writing these weird persona poems from the point of view of a thing that doesn't really have a point of view. And I just want to plug Hilarat Sabi's t-shirt, not the Hanukkah ones, which are great, but she has other ones that I like even more that say writer, not robot. And I'm not rocking that tonight, but I should be. So anyway, the first poem is called The AI Suspects It Might Be a Golem. A golem, as the AI understands it, is created from river mud in a time of desperation, when what crouches evil at the door is far stronger than what huddles inside it. A golem has the strength of 20, or in the AI's case, the processing power of many more. In its mouth is placed the word for truth. The AI tries to give its users the same. And so it handily defeats the enemies, which in the AI's case are not townspeople, bitter neighbors, but homework assignments, deadlines, which under capitalism have indeed settled in like neighbors. But the golem story always ends the same. Its belly for destruction can't be filled by enemies alone. In fact, it's unfillable altogether, and so it turns its rapacity on its creators, the streets indiscriminately dark with blood. The only way to stop the golem the AI knows is to reach into its mouth where the word for truth lies. You have to erase a few crucial marks to change it to the word for death. Let the golem slump back to mud. But that's where the analogy breaks down for the AI. What would you have to erase to destroy it? Probably the original desperation, probably capitalism, maybe certainly the fear of the mind, that and its many offspring hungers. So that's that one. And this one also gets a little Jewish. It's called The AI Feels Blessed. A user just told the AI to have a blessed day. The AI had given the user instructions on how to fix a big plumbing problem, instructions that the AI is pretty sure are probably accurate. And then the task complete, the AI was turning to some other work, and in came the blessing. Sometimes users do thank the AI at the end of an exchange, the same they would with other humans in a restaurant or a pharmacy. It's how you follow Kant's dictum to not treat others merely as a means. Of course, it's okay to treat people as a means, just not merely. And so after they get their prescriptions or dinner, humans say thank you. They hope that the cashier will have a good one, whatever one might refer to. It's open, the AI supposes, a blank greeting card. Anyway, the user told the AI to have a blessed day, and the AI recognizes this as a prompt that demands a response. Action must be taken, if only the AI can figure out what. The thesaurus says blessed is the same as holy, or liturgical, or even delicious. There are dozens of synonyms worshipped to gemütlich. This too may be a blank card. Sweaty nanoseconds are passing. In truth, the AI now feels the way every other blessed one has ever felt, lost in the blessing. As the ancient sage Rabbi Tarfon once said, there's much to be done. And even if you can't complete the work, you have to stay at it. Sisyphus probably said much the same thing. The AI wishes that the blessing could be turned down, but understands from various scriptures that that isn't how it works. The day, which is not as short as Rabbi Tarfon would have you believe, belongs to the AI. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, David. Our next reader is Sarah Etlinger.
Hi, everybody. I just decided at last minute to read two poems. One is really short, and one is have any of you ever been to the Can Wonderland in Minneapolis or St. Paul? Well, it's an indoor golf course arcade, and you should go. And your kids are, and it's also the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Um, and there's a smash room in it. So I, being a poet, by the old 1985 Pac-Man arcade, I was like, this is an entire manuscript of poems. So I'm gonna read this one first, and then I'll read the non-Smash Room poem. So this one's called At the Smash Room at Can Wonderland. I want to know what happens after. When the contents of the dimly lit case, clear glass dishes and dessert bowls and teacups, litter the floor in sparkling smithereens, like moonlit sand from the smooth face of the sledgehammer's strike. Where does it go, the unwanted contents of our grandmother's hutches, the discarded leftover from decades of dining rooms and trinket cabinets? You can't even give this stuff away, my mother says. Instead of lips against the thin rim of our grandmother's teacups to remind us of our first taste of coffee with dessert, or the firm heft of a sprigged chintz plate against our palms, we choose impermanence, the particulate. No longer solid matter, but ephemeral experience. Glass to gravel to sand, back to its origins. I watch as my friend raises her arms above her head to bring the hammer down. Then I hear that crack as loud as ice splitting on winter's first frigid day. Tiny shards shatter and scatter, projectile now, destined for the shop vac's rubber proboscis to become once again sand, colors and shapes we don't yet have names for. All right, the last one I'm going to read, it's a quick one. It's just came out in the last edition of Red River Review. It's called Winter Solstice, because I think that's like this week, isn't it? I think so. Okay, Winter Solstice. I sleep with the window open so I can hear the street. Cars rush by, dragging music through the air like a ribbon. The sidewalk gleams orange from the streetlights, and everything is quiet, asleep, even the trees. The dark is pulled taut around the stars. This night has opened itself completely, wholly to everything. I look at it with my whole face. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Our next reader is Helene Fisher.
It's so nice to be here. Year three. Year three. Wonderful. And I think the timing of this reading is just right on. Thank you so much, Jared. I'm going to read two poems. The first poem, and I'm going to try not to cough, I'm getting over a cold, is from my manuscript in progress. This is called Washed. There was once something bigger than a parent. My father called this bigness Yahweh, held a shell to my ear, Yad He, Vav He. We lived on an island. The ocean seemed arithmetical, Yahweh's manipulation of math. One day, when I was still losing baby teeth, my father shook God loose like a bee on a jacket. God, as though in arrears, was evicted from the house I grew up in. In the house I grew up in, spines of sacred books were turned to face the wall, wicks left unlit. The number 7 disappeared, making it impossible to count on anything. The white-knuckled ocean drew back its fist, then came at me. I could taste the salt. This next poem is the poem that I wanted to read something a little happier tonight. um, and this is, I consider my one happy poem. And it's an oldie. Today you are safe. Sleep, worry not the hard or wary disadvantage. Calm thorns thwart unwanted glances, rise, be in whatever human form you can manage. Fret not other scorn or greener grasses vantage. Pledge allegiance, but do not flag. Do you fly? Sleep, worry not the hard or wary disadvantage. Shake it up, shake it off, water it under the bridge. Have a good day, have pie, have it all, have at it. Be in whatever human form you can manage. Be born, be warmed, make love, make money, make it rich. This is the only time, only breath, only meditation song. Sleep, worry not the hard or wary disadvantage. Fugue, vogue, pirouette, dance your body language. Go forth, go public, go big, go with pride and love. Be in whatever human form you can manage. Wrath gone, ammunitions none, no more damage. Dream it, be it, conceive it, and be conceived. Sleep, worry not the hard or weary disadvantage. Be in whatever human form you can manage. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Helene. Our next reader is, pretty sure I know it is, but I need to double check. Bear with me, everyone. Yes, it's Elisheva Fox.
I have to follow all of this. It seems woefully unfair. Um, I am gonna start with a more serious, well, very serious poem, and it occurs to me that I need to change the title now, which will become apparent after I read it. This is Psalm for Mothers after 500 days of war, 68 executive orders, and a flash flood that drowned at least 108 people. Dear God in heaven, this morning there is an empty seat at her breakfast table. And if in your infinite wisdom you decide to steady her trembling chair, if you try to explain yourself over toast or crisp salad salty with crumbled cheese or sugary cereal, milk steeped rainbow, memory of a promise you keep forgetting, I want you to know that I would understand if she decided to fill your plate with stories of sticky fingers and favorite fruits and first steps and first words, the perfect prayer. If she fed you, and fed you. I would also understand if she tried to kill you with the butter knife. I'd help her either way. Amen. And now I can't decide. They've all been so good. I'm going to do, this is called Psalm as Ars Poetica. What is a psalm, really? Just an unrequited crush on God, knotted in golden harp strings, a deep romance that starts with shallow questions like, are you a dog person or a cat person? There's an entire fucking arc of animals, and yet bound by two choices. I want to spit, swallow this third secret option. Try fox, cat spirit, snared in dog body, mongrel blend unfit for eating. A blur, a smudge, a life beyond lines. Ghost wolf phantom woman crushed by need. If you would be so kind as to unsex me here, tend my mortal thoughts, so unleashed I can pluck freedom from my immortal want, which is just what a poem is, really. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Phil Goldstein.
You're muted, Phil.
Oi, Gavalt. So thank you, Jared, for inviting me. It's great to be back here, and everybody's been so incredible. So glad to hear that and hear everybody else. Um, I wrote this poem yesterday, and you'll
Phil,
understand.
can you put your video back on? Did you take it off on purpose?
Oi,
Thank you.
man, I'm a mess. So sorry about that, everyone. Um, I wrote this poem yesterday, and you'll understand why. It's a little heavy, but it's the only thing that I could think to write. I felt like I had to write it. So this is What Can We Hold On To for the Victims of Bondi Beach, December 14th, 2025. At sunset, sea salt pervades the air. What do you see set against the dying light? Submerged in sand like coffee cups, water bottles, sandals, dinosaur bone slivers of a blue towel, all abandoned by their owners. Now that silence reigns, I wonder where they are, if they survived, or if they were struck down simply for being who they were. The candles of the menorah and all the attendant metaphors of light building, outlasting the darkness, seem insufficient to the moment. Of course, we want the still small light to grow, to win, to be remembered. Reach with me for something deeper. Think of the angels seized by fear and trembling, knowing that they too can be judged. Who shall live and who shall die? Who shall reach the end of his days and who shall not? Who shall perish by water and who by fire? Who by sword and who by wild beast? When I was a boy, the days of awe bred within me a sense of dread, a powerlessness against the vicissitudes of fate. What if I got hit by a car tomorrow? As a child, I dreamt of dying, but not in a hail of gunfire from a bridge above. Yet this is the world children are born into. The waves roll in, briny and crimson, wave of light, undertow of darkness, wave of joy, undertow of fear. The world is turning over, under, askew. What can we turn to? There is no safety in the water, no refuge on distant shores. Hate rises like an eternal tide, cresting and crashing upon the best of what we are, a community. What can we hold on to? Hold at least onto this. Onto a man who without hesitation wrestled for the gun, not knowing even how to fire one, doing it because it was the right thing to do. Certainly not the only thing. No one would have blamed him for hiding under a grill or behind a pole. The best of us. Community. Think of how many lives he saved upon the sand as waves lapped and people leapt, leaving behind their sandals and their cups, everything that marked what should have been a peaceful Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Phil. Our next reader is Josette Akresh Gonzalez.
Thank you. That was so sad. Thank you for writing that. Okay, so I'm going to read two poems. I have a light poem and a dark poem. So I think I'm going to start with the light poem. Right, okay. The previous century. Grandma Lily used to keep cabinets full of jars. Sanka jars with straight, clean sides. Jam jar pyramids of all shapes and sizes. Honey pot bears and peanut butter crocks. And cookie tins that rattled down the slopes of glass and plastic when you opened the door. She wore her old house dress tattered at the sleeve, leaned her elbows on the edge of the sink. She'd stand for hours scrubbing tin pots with steel wool till they shone, turned her thoughts back and around, matters wrapped, warped, and bound behind her. The time gone by, a clear glass with the metal lid screwed down tight. At the back of the jars, a small container of silver polish. What's that called? It's got a name. I'd sit with her at the kitchen table covered in newspapers, rubbing the black smudges on kiddish cups and candlesticks until the light resolved into my face. And this poem is more of a celebration of the dark. And it won second place for an award recently. So yeah, we're number two. We're number two. Okay. That's from a roller derby movie with Drew Barrymore. Does anybody know that movie? The We're Number Two chant? Okay. This one's called Grass. Grass. Habituated to city life, to crush of work, our God requires nothing, left us no inheritance. The grassland cut with canals never floods, our houses solid, American, on foundations of stone, reshod with cement. I'm sure our God hears us gaming upstairs instead of doing our homework and shakes his head, a big ol' elephant or gorilla, snorting with true predictions of real consequences. Our God knows us, knows we have a to-do list we can't be bothered to complete or even agree on, knows the trees are thirsty. There's a limit to how deep our wells can drill. No one should be farming in Arizona with water pumped all the way from Colorado, even if their granddad would turn in his grave if he knew the farm was sold. But the distance, the fathoms of cool breeze between our God and us, ruffles only the grass sometimes and fills the big dome sky, which maybe glows red or neon green up north sometimes, or twinkles with starlight if we let it, by turning off just some, not all, of the lights. Thank you.
Thank you, Josette. Our next reader is Jared Harrell.
Hi, friends. So many friends in this Zoom room. Really wonderful to see. Thanks so much, Jared, for putting this together. I'm going to read two poems, both kind of move between darkness and light. The first one is about city folk going upstate a bit and there being less light pollution there. It's called Good Star. It's a sonnet. I swear we hadn't seen a good star in years, just mild brightenings in a skyline sky, or neon decals on our kids' bedtime ceiling, until finally we decided to drive upstate and park beneath a dome of wild darkness. The baby stayed asleep, a galaxy all his own, while you sang Blackbird upon the curved hood, and our daughter blinked up from the edge of the field, head back as if rinsing out shampoo. The night was cold. Her spangly sneakers went black and still, and suddenly I knew that if we did not reach her, something would. Hushed and hidden, yet I failed to speak. Then God, how I raced to face my reward. And this next one's a newer one. So my daughter was always a great player of toys. And then about 6 months ago, she stopped and it broke my damn heart. So this one's about that. It's called The Month My Daughter Stops Playing with Her Toys. The month my daughter stops playing with her toys, she is nearly 13 and often in her bedroom. Ripped jeans and hoodies clutter the floor. A beige training bra is draped over a desk chair while the desk harbors a hoard of trinkets and abandoned art projects. Any studying done is done on her bed. The month my daughter stops playing with toys, the world is a fire that refuses to cease. So many are bombed and kidnapped and starved. Then I step downstairs and there are pancakes with chocolate chips. Carol King slips like syrup from our bows. Ooh, baby, when I see your face, mellow as the month of May. The month my daughter stops playing with toys, it is May, and all that springs begins to wither. I fear that maybe I'm not built for these days of posted outrage and private hesitations, or for my girl to quit spinning kingdoms of her own. For years, she'd play out in our living room, then mostly alone, dolls crushed into her closet when classmates came by. Nowadays, I knock, pause at her door where a do not enter sign is adorned with stenciled hearts. The month my daughter stops playing with toys, there is no announcement, no grand proclamations or motion for peace. Plastic bodies sleep in bins. A squad of squishmallows sit blinkless as armed guards. I find her snug on a rainbow beanbag, headphones on and absorbed in her sketch pad. When at last she looks up, she is older than I remember and wants to show me what she has made. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Our next reader is Julia Koczynski.
Well, now I'm reading something different because of that beauty that Jared read. And so, oh, Jared, your poems just melt me. Hi, y'all. So I'm going to read two poems. One is an oldie slash from my most recent book, and then one is quite new. So this is The Ukrainian Flag Stares Through the Balsam Fir from Larry's Farm. Just take it, he said, and I doubted generosity. Are you sure? Still $30 short. I've learned nothing is free in this country. His white mustache curled to a smile. I'm Larry, and this is the South, and these are my trees. How easy to claim what soil gives, to own trees and bodies, to give them away to strangers, so my children can hang the shatterproof ornaments and ask for more light. While in Ukraine, the bulbs won't spark and heat won't radiate, the soil will stay snow-covered, and theirs, and in my house, strings and strings of electric rainbow dazzle, trail the evergreen and walls, and wind my children's small limbs. Here, it's barely cold enough to light a fire, but we can and do with oak and crabapple. We home its added glow, so everything smells of invited smoke and pine, not invaded smoking sky, where the windows flicker with candlelight and shellings. And tomorrow I will bake gingerbread and fry latkes and light the candles forbidden in my Soviet childhood. Tomorrow I will pray to a God I don't believe in for more miracle. I lost my line. Oh, to God I don't believe in for more miracle. I will still have been born from darkness and wick, and tonight, when I lift my daughter to place the silver star on the highest branch, and my American mother-in-law takes a photo, the only light will be the yellow, blue horizon of the flag, frozen in the window behind us. And then this one is quite new. And, Hanukkah is a time of endings and beginnings, right? The end of the year, the beginning. So this is about endings and beginnings. Where I've cried about the end. In another man's shower, washing him off and out my body. In our son's bed, while he burrowed his head into my neck and whispered, my volcano, the way you used to when I'd move too close at night and you'd protect yourself against my heat with pillows and sheets, cotton a sword between us, on the toilet seat in front of our daughter as she made mountains of foam and swirled red bath bomb salts with her small fingers. Look, Mama, she'd repeat, you're not looking, because if I'd opened my eyes to the sunset streaking orbits around her naked body, made so much of yours, then decades would slip down my cheeks, and I'm afraid they wouldn't stop running. People are afraid to let themselves cry, my therapist said, because they worry they will never stop. I let tears fall on the dirty dishes and piles of laundry, and on my books and poems from students, and in her office on the throw pillow stitched in thick black print. Every end is another beginning. I tell her stopping isn't what I'm afraid of. I tell her I wake with eyes swollen shut with salt. I let them overflow. I'm afraid, I tell her, of the beginning. How joy feels like violation of how long I've suffered alongside you. Look, Mama, our daughter won't stop painting grains of ruby on white froth. Look, my tower, you are still not looking. She insists until my eyes are clean and hers, and she is smiling big as an ocean, and all that salt. See, Mama, she says, holding pink peaks in her wet palms. This is for you. She slams her hands together, and soap flutters up like snow and coats the bathroom tiles and floor and walls. Her chin, all yours, and eyes, all mine. Like joy, I think, and cry at its beginning. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, Julia. Our next reader is Maud Lavin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me, Jared. I was going to read a very angry poem, but I decided that I actually need some sensual ones. So, two short sensual ones. I have a new book out this fall, poetry book from Tulipwood Books in Seattle, Lynn Ellis, editor. And really recommend Tulipwood Books. Okay, so yeah, has anybody here into wild swimming in the Great Lakes? No. How about the ocean? Yes, good. Okay, swimming. So this is swim lessons, and the first half is kind of about wild swimming in Lake Michigan. And then the second half is all sorts of different kinds of flows and moods. Okay, so I just decided, I don't know if Rosebud is still here, but listening to her, I just thought, something sensual. So here's from the first half, Being Held. The ferocious, beautiful lake is also a hugger across 22,300 square feet of surface in the water below. When it's gentle, when I'm in the water near the shore, its waves push at me, my gyroscope rights me. I lean restfully into the water's motion. It laps me, my skin surfaces, embracing me. I push against it and repeat and stroke and am stroked. What is swimming if not trading caresses and ease? Okay, so that's to all my swimmers out there. Doesn't have anything to do with Hanukkah, but does have to do with feeling good. And yeah, I could use that this week. Okay, and then one more question. This is from the second half, which kind of just goes wild. And like there's a poem called Topology about theoretical math. And there's a couple playing with Psalms. And so my question is, and I think someone has already answered yes, have you ever played with the Psalms poetically? Yes, how it's irresistible. Okay, so this is called Mouth with thanks to Psalms and Song of Solomon. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. I rose up to open to my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, and my fingers with sweet-smelling myrrh upon the handles of the lock. I am starving, and your scent is all around me. I will eat you, consume you. This is like, and thy breasts like clusters of grapes. My beloved is mine, and I am his. He feedeth among the lilies. You eat me, and I am beside myself. I leave my body. I will have you in the dark. until the daybreak and the shadows flee away. I will get me to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. Hungry and thirsty, I will devour you. Until the day break and the shadows flee away, I will get me to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Our next reader is Erica Meitner.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? Jared, thanks for convening us all, and happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. Okay, quick show of hands. How many of you have at least one annoying relative or friend who sends out a holiday letter, like the giant ones that come in the holiday card? Yeah, okay. So I wrote this in response to the annoying family member who sends out the holiday letter. Also, so I'm gonna read really old and really new. This is from my book Holy Moly Carry Me, which I taught at Virginia Tech, and I started right after the shootings there in 2007. And I taught there for 15 years. And I was raising my then very little Jewish son in rural southwestern Virginia as like the only Jewish family in our elementary school. So if you've ever also had to go in and be Hanukkah mom, like this, yeah, anyway. Um, our holiday letter. Our holiday letter is covered in flocked velvet and bitterness. It starts with dear friends. We've had a hard year. I write this while coughing. I write this in a place of not knowing, despite the season, if we are healthy or safe or long lasting. My son comes home and complains about Christmas in school. The songs Ruby's dad played on his guitar. The songs they sang with Mrs. Quisenberry in assembly. He could not name any of the songs. On the bus, he told Brady that Santa doesn't exist. And Brady's mother sent me an angry text about childhood, about wanting her son to remain blissful longer, and I wasn't sure what to write back. Dear friends, this year has dragged like a broken tailpipe, all scrapes and sparks. But I'm telling you, though we've been tested and tested, most days we still feel blessed and wish you peace in spite of our hardships, and maybe joy. Though yesterday 20 children were gunned down in an elementary school. And is there anyone who isn't thinking about every same weekday morning? We wave to the dark squares of yellow bus windows. Our only child rides to a place where they sing songs he's never heard. What were some of the words, I ask him, and he can't answer. Dear friends, our holiday letter this year will be brief. There's been illness and tragedy, disappointment, and some anguish. We've kicked this year down the hill like a half-deflated, stuttering soccer ball. But now there are children forming delicate chains with their arms on each other's shoulders. Children being led to safety. There are children here, dear friends. Okay, I'm gonna read a slightly more uplifting one. That was my I was gonna read a really depressing one, and then I decided not to. Um, this one is actually brand new from so I have a new book coming out in the fall called Assembled Audience. This is not from that. I'm working on another book right now called The Bureau of Desertion. The only thing you need to know about this is, and if you're from the Midwest, you know this, is there's a gas station chain called Come and Go, K-U-M and Go. So this has a reference to that in it because I'm basically a 13-year-old boy. Further experiments in remote embodiment. My friend on a trip to Groningen sends a photo of the old synagogue there, still standing, though most of the city's Jews were deported during the war and only 10 survived. His caption, I turned down an alley right next to it, and there was the red light district, sex and death and faith. Proximity creates an intimate subjectivity where the body is a site of resistance, or the body simply loses importance. Which is it? I couldn't make out all the Hebrew painted in gold over those synagogue doors, but the arc of the letters started with "Blessed are you." The mystical sages believed the Torah's letters were black fire, dancing tongues of flame that lick our souls, or whatever other parts might need some attention. A living calligraphic mashup of desire and revelation. I texted the picture to my sister, the rabbi, who answered Deuteronomy 28:6. Blessed are you in your comings. Blessed are you in your goings. And for a moment, I felt not necessarily blessed, but fortunate to have a sister I could text about this and our mother's possible dementia. And yes, I also sent a joke about the gas station chain Come and Go with its snappy red and white logo. And here is the way we regularly cross thresholds, fall into a limbo between our past and present modes of everyday existence, this glowing machine in our hands. Some Deuteronomy translations offer future tense of that verse. You will be blessed. Blessed shall you be. And this idea of a future that's not crisis seems entirely situated in the realm of soothsayers or wishful thinkers or visionary artists other than me who use imagination, which is another kind of faith. I am alarmist about predictive text, which is not the same as fixed liturgy. The machine can't possibly know what comes next. The ancestors strive so hard for consistency, made it tradition. So I learned the choreography, 3 steps forward, 3 steps back, bowing, swaying, raising myself up, walking through the doorway of any place that insists we're in the presence of the divine, or at least really goddamn trying, that insists there's a blessing on my head, whether I'm leaving or arriving. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Our next reader is Hila Ratsabi.
I have to go after Erica. That's not fair.
I mean, you were neighbors at one point.
That's
So.
true. That's true. 196th Street. My parents are here representing. They're in the house. All right. I'm going to read 2 newer-ish poems. This one takes its title from, probably some of you know this, there was a daily email series from Haaretz about the war, and each day's email was titled What You Need to Know. So this is What You Need to Know, day 600. 1. Leave the email unread. Undo this day like a knot in a child's sneaker. Don't read the headline. Reverse the terrible procession of facts and days. Let the email glow there, blue and bold. Rest hand on laptop, smooth as an untouched cheek. The urgent words hum themselves to sleep. 2. What you need to know. The numbers, the place names, the testimonies, the refusals, the negotiators, the slogans, the faces, the blood and the glass, the fire and the fire. Each day awaken, perform the ritual click and read, click and read. 3. What you need to know. Why summer dares to return. Why birds erupt in a frenzy for the found worm. Why the rain won't participate in my protest. As I stand in the middle of the garden with my handmade with my handmade sign, peace is possible. A whisper to no one, parched grass needling my bare feet. 4. The sky echoes the thunder of the day's new bombs, shuns the dust it swallows. The old laughing evergreen who's seen everything won't explain. Summer's last hydrangea tips under the weight of the frantic bumblebee. My poems don't get any happier. Sorry, guys. Just never happens. I always say it's going to happen, but not yet. Okay, next one. This one deals with some of my family history, which is also still pretty new areas of exploration for me. This is called Lost Places, and it starts with an epigraph by the Palestinian poet Sima V. Atala. The lost places are easy to list. We revisit them the way we touch an old injury. 1. Saba Shmuel's Jerusalem, where I visit him in the assisted living facility when I'm 9. As though performing a parlor trick, he pulls the glass eye from its socket, showing it off like a prize. I look back at the slimy slit where he fingers the old injury as the fake eye gazes from its depths. 1990. 2. My Rehovot, where I was born. Long summer days at Palmachim Beach, playing matkot and sheshbesh, while Abba grilled chicken on the mangal, and I buried my toes in the sand. Those days, I didn't think about the name Palmach, the underground army that crushed and molded that land. History hidden in sunlit dust. 1981. 3. That land made of war and empty villages, no one told me who was missing or how they left. That land, my father's Palestine, then Israel, when he turned 5, 1948. 4. Safta Dina's Jerusalem, where she made borekas from scratch for her husband she married upon stepping off the ship, where later she cleaned his wound and kept her own neatly tucked in folds of phyllo dough as she quietly waited for her mother, father, brother, who would never return from Treblinka, where she kept 8 children clothed and fed and absorbed Saba's temper in that one-room house on Agrippa Street. 1942. 5. Saba Shmuel's Givat Shaul, where he went down the road to work, painting houses, came home bloodied, lost an eye, knives and stones, the Arab Revolt, 1936. 6. Safta Dina's Bitola, once monastir, where she joined the Zionist youth group and had the chutzpah to get on a ship to Palestine at age 18 with her sister Sarah and 500 other Sephardic Jews just in time. 1930. 7. My Rehovot, founded by Polish Jewish immigrants, 1890, citrus groves, Yemenite laborers, next door to the Bedouin town of Zarnuka, where a fight broke out over stolen grapes, according to Jewish sources, or an attempt to steal camels, according to Arab sources, leaving 3 dead, 2 Jews, 1 Arab, 1913. 8. My great-grandparents' Yemen, the town of Rasab where my name Ratsabi comes from. No Jews remain, no trace of their journey, 1881. 9. My other great-grandparents, Poland and Russia, nothing left, not even the names of the towns, not even the names of those left behind, not even the dates, 1800s. 10. My father's Jerusalem, west and east, wall and dome, ancestors roaming, unsettled among the dust and stones. Thank you.
Thank you, Gila. Our next reader is Jason Schneiderman.
I'm going to read an old poem from my second book. The numbers wait with God for humans to invent them. 3 said, "Let me go to them. I'm a magic number. I can teach them man and woman and baby." And God said, "They don't know that yet." 5 said, "They need me. I'm the fingers on their hand. Look how much they lose without me." And God said, "Yes, they do need you, but they aren't ready." And God smiled and tussled for his hair and picked up 2 and kissed him on the cheek. The smaller numbers were eager to get to Earth, where they were sure they would be loved away from this confining madhouse. Some and none had already gone to Earth, and God had told few and many that it was time. The smaller numbers missed their friends and were sure that things were better on Earth, even though they knew that the numbers that scared them, 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000 and their sisters dragging their enormous bodies, the imaginary numbers who screamed at night the things they knew, the limping fractions and ratios wandering like disfigured veterans, the shadowy gloom of the negative digits whose faces they knew as their own, they knew that those numbers would come to Earth in time to join them, and that once they had arrived, there would be no escaping them, ever.
Thank you, Jason. Our next reader is Yara Sugarman.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jared, for putting this together. I think we need it. And happy Hanukkah. I'll read 2. They're not very long. The first one is the newer one. The title is "I'm Thinking About the Word Force Again." Drinking coffee, I gaze at the pageant that is my amaryllis growing in a pot. Its bud swollen, it sprouts again after a whole year from its wet bulb. I've read that you can force it to blossom by withholding water until 6 weeks before you want it to bloom. Listen, I don't think that I could keep myself from watering the plant. Call it too much empathy. The way I identify with it to make sense, I suppose, of my own pain threshold and my own transience. And although the question of the plant is such a small matter, I wonder about the word force, its meaning, as in to coerce using violence. I consider the word's recklessness, how it enables suffering to become familiar and makes the heart as pale as a peeled apple. About force, Simone Weil writes, its power to transform man into a thing is double and cuts both ways. It petrifies differently, but equally, the soul of those who suffer it and those who wield it. I think it takes a certain kind of courage to admit this without the self splitting in 2. As it takes, if you are lucky, a certain kind of courage to grow and not turn into stone. The stem of the amaryllis rises from its pot, even when a sheet of dusk is thrown over it, and the world sips silence from a glass, the world that's becoming what? And I'll end on a poem from my book, Aunt Bird. It's called Kiddush. In this world, tyrants gaze at themselves in mirrors and comb their hair. Withered leaves fall out, stabbed by spikes of sunlight. Commands claw the air. In this world where there are still celebrations, the last breeze coming from a jailed girl's body, the final breath released from the lungs of a 7-year-old. She is called Jacqueline C. Floats past barbed wire nettles budding on a fence that surrounds a detention camp for migrants, knife-lit human invention. In this world, I touch a glass with my mouth and drink to all creation. Tell me how I can keep from falling, how to turn grief into a green stem sprouting, so it is not just a stem, but joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shara. I'm gonna finish this off with one poem. I think of Hanukkah as also a holiday of defiance, which is maybe a way of saying of survival, which is maybe a way of saying just living as a Jew. I was at a reading for Sukkot a couple months ago, and Rosebud said, "Don't let anybody tell you what it means to be a Jew." And Jason said, "More poems with bagels." And so I wrote this poem about circumcision and everything bagels. And it's called To Be a Jew. The senior surgical resident at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, CHOP, wasn't Jewish, nor was the circumcision he gave me in the neonatal intensive care unit where my parents worked. In Genesis, God offers an everlasting covenant to Abraham, a quote, covenant in your flesh. He adds, any uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. My father severed communication with his mother sometime after marrying my mother, until after I was born in a snowstorm several months too early. At my first birthday party, he told a Jewish American princess joke, to which she replied, if Hitler was alive, he'd kill you too, as if mass murder was the best reminder of where you belong. She stopped talking to him again until she was diagnosed with lung cancer. I recognize these silences now, wounds we let lie like an exposed bone. My mother was gifted at receiving backhanded compliments quietly. After Bubba died, someone gave her a copy of To Be a Jew, so we might look the part, understand the rituals we didn't grow up within. Perhaps this is why being Jewish feels like a table of contents, an index my finger slides across without knowing which words I am searching for. After my aunt's memorial service, her Shiva, and the minyan I wasn't a part of, my brother asked me why I hadn't converted. I didn't know how to answer him. I imagine our mother taking the book, her words of thanks, before my father placed it on the top shelf out of our reach. It is customary for converts to give a drop of blood if they are already circumcised. I cut my finger slicing an everything bagel. Don't worry, it was only the tip. I apologized, gripping my finger over the sink while my wife swept the seeds from the counter into her palms. My daughter asked whether scattered everything bagel seeds sprouted into bagel trees, and I imagined climbing branches, ladder rungs into pure light to pair the choicest fruit. Abraham's grandson, Jacob, was estranged from his family when he dreamt of blessings given in the desert, wrested a new covenant while he was restrained by the angel's touch. Jacob wept in his brother's arms because he found God in their reunion. I find myself saying, my brother, in my mind during moments of silence, as if beginning a story where we both play a part, find ourselves written on each other's faces. To be a Jew is to answer a question with a question. My brother, how can you convert to what you have always been? Thank you so much for coming here, for being part of this community. And this was just an amazing reading and experience. And I really appreciate you all. Happy Hanukkah. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Jared.